Welcome back everyone to 3D modeling a Hobbit Door scene with Blender 2.9 and Adobe Photoshop. Now this is where we left it off, so what I want to do now is I want to go into edit mode, so have this selected, press the tab button, press A to grab everything and then press E, and what you're going to do is you want to pull it out along the Y axis, so press the Y button straight after, and then you're going to pull it out like so. And now what I can do is I can actually grab it all with L. I'm going to pull it back into place and then I get a good idea of actually what it's going to look like. So now we need to actually give this some depth. It's just a 2D cylinder at the moment, and that's not very useful for what we need. So what we'll do is we'll press Tab. Again, we'll reset the transformations. So Control A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry. Okay, so now let's come over to our modifiers tab, this little spanner again, add modifier, and this time we're going to bring in a solidify. And now this solidify, basically what it does is, if I pull this to the right hand side or the left hand side, you can see I can pull it out and it pulls it out really even along here. Now you could have extruded this out, but I find that doing it with a solidify just makes it that much better. So now if I click on even thickness, always be aware, always try and turn this on, because it basically means that it'll be even going all the way around here. Now let's press tab and you'll see that you can't really actually do anything with this mesh, and the reason is we have to actually apply this. So just make sure if you press 1 that you're actually happy with the thickness of this actual arch. I might want it a little bit just a little bit thicker, something like that. I think that looks really nice. Alright, so to apply this, again, you can either click this down arrow or press Control A, and then we'll just apply that. Next, what we want to do is we want to think about, before we do anything, bringing in some seams, just to make sure it's going to make it easy for us when we actually split this up. So what we'll do is we'll come over to Edge Select. I'm going to come round to the back, Alt, Shift and click. I'm going to grab all these edges here. I'm going to right click, come down, Mark Seam. Right, now we need to split these up. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to Face Select. And what I need to do is now, to split these up, is I need to think how big each one of these blocks is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these two at the bottom, and then I'm going to miss 1, and then I'm going to grab 2, miss 1, grab 2, miss 1, grab 2, and that should leave me then 2 at the top. And then I'm going to just follow it back round, so grabbing 2, missing 1, like so, and then I should end up exactly the same as what I did this side. Now you can split this up pressing the P button, but there is another way as well. What you need to press is the Y button. So press Y and then press G, and that will give you free movement, and you can see that you've actually split them up. When I split them up with the Y button, I always press the G just to make sure they split, and then I move them around with the mouse, and then I just right click on the mouse just to drop them back in place, and now I know they're all ready to go. Next, now we need to bring these in a little, just so we can put some faces on the inside of each of these. Because if I bring this out, you can see, for instance, that they've got gaps in each one of these. So let's do that now. Now to put this back, let's just press Ctrl Z. And now what we're going to do is grab everything. So I'm going to press A. I'm going to come up to my little interlocking links here. I'm going to put it on individual origins. And now when I press the S button to scale, you will see that each of these individual ones scales independently. So if I press S, bring them in. And there you go. Now you can see exactly what you're doing. So the next thing I want to do is I need to put faces on each of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to where it says mesh, come down to where it says cleanup, go across, and we've got one that says fill holes. So let's fill all those holes in, and that's a really quick way of doing that. Now there are two faces at the bottom that we really don't need, which is this one and this one. So let's delete faces. And now I want to actually mark a seam on each of these faces. So again, this is a little bit tedious, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in and grab all of these faces on this side first, just so I can then go back up the opposite way to make sure I've actually got them all. So let's keep going all the way down to the bottom, and now let's come the other way. And we need to mark these seams, obviously, because if not, we will have infinite loops again. And we're doing it before we bevel them or anything like that, because it does make it a ton easier if you're thinking of in advance where your seams are going to go. So there we go. Now to mark seams in Face Select, you can't press right click. There will be no option there for mark seams. So what you need to do is press Ctrl E, and then you'll see mark seams is here, and there we go. Alright, so now what I want to do is, first of all, I want to come in with edge select, because if I leave this on face select and I try and grab one of these, so if I press L, you'll see that I will leave these two behind. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into edge select, grab this top one, press 1, and then I'm going to press the S button just to bring this one out on its own a little bit like so, just to give it some variance and a kind of keystone in the top middle of our actual door. Now what I want to do is I want to bring these close to each other, but I might as well bring my material in first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap these. So I'm going to press A, come over to UV editing, press the dot button, and that will zoom you straight to where you need to be. Press U, unwrap, and there we go. We can see all of our blocks actually unwrapped. And now let's bring our material in. So we'll go over to shading. We'll come over to our materials panel, which is this one here. Press the plus button, new, and we'll put this rock and moss. Like so. I'm going to press dot on the number pad just to zoom me out a little bit. And now I'm going to zoom out, and I should have my principled here again. Now let's do what we did before and bring in our rock and moss. So Control, Shift and T. Find where your rock and moss are. So it should be under textures. And here we are, is our rock. And then again, grab the top one, shift select the bottom one, click on the principled texture, and there we go, they're all brought in. Now you can see that we've got a lot of gaps down here, and the stones are looking very, very sharp at the moment. Now let's work on one thing at a time. So what we're first of all going to do is we're going to bevel these off. So I'm going to press Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, come over to my little spanner on the right hand side, add modifier, and this time we're going to come down to where it says bevel, and you'll see now they go something like this, which is quite nice, but they're kind of a little bit beveled off too much, and I don't really want that. First of all, I'm going to turn up my segments to 2 to make them nice and round for me, and then I'm going to turn this down, and you'll see as I bring this down that they get more or less rounded depending on where this amount is. So what I need to do though is, first of all, I need to bring them closer together so that I've got a good idea of how rounded off I need them. So let's press Tab, let's press A just to make sure you've grabbed everything. Make sure your interlocking links are on individual origins. Press 1 on the number pad so you can see where the gaps are, and then press S and pull it out. And you can use the shift button again to pull it out, not so much or more. It just slows it down a little bit, making it more refined. So I'm going to pull it out there, I'm going to press the tab button, I'm going to double tap the A so I can see what I'm actually looking at, and I can see that I've probably got still, again, too much gap down here. So again, I'm going to press tab, there should already be selected, I'm going to press S and pull them out just a little bit more, tab again, and there you go. Now they look really, really nice, and they look like they really, really slot well together. Now the other thing we can do is, we can actually just add something into this node setup, just to make it a little bit easier to really make this darker or lighter depending on what we want from our scene. So let's come in, grab the material output, shift select the principled, pull them over to the right hand side, and then hover over here, and what you're going to press is Shift A, search, and you're going to bring GAM, so G-A-M, and that then is going to enable you to bring in a gamma. So select the gamma and drop it in. Now nothing will happen, but if you zoom in and turn this gamma up, you'll see now we can make it darker or lighter, and it's just a really easy way just to make it a little bit darker for what we need. When we actually do the render, this is a really easy way so we can mess around with this very easily and get the look that we're actually looking for. Okay everyone, so what we'll do now is on the next lesson we'll actually make a start on our wooden door, and then finally we'll get on with the steps, and then we'll do the hinges. So I hope you're enjoying the course, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot everyone, bye bye.